So, I had a notification from Resisting the Lies channel with the title Labour's so-called Asylum Crackdown, and I'll have to agree with one of the comments straight off the bat. Smoke and mirrors, it's all BS. Nothing is going to happen, and it's absolutely true. Absolutely true. I'll thumb it up. You're a witness, DJ. So, under fair use, stopping occasionally to make comment, let me play you the following. Oh, by the way, DJ, knocked yourself out there with, the quality. And I know you're going to say, but I was doing it all with my phone. Well, I know you've got a laptop, and I also know you've got a bloody camera, so get the finger out, eh? Get the finger out. Anyway, let's carry on.
The Home Secretary wants to overhaul the asylum system with the aim of making the UK less attractive to illegal immigrants. Under her plan, people granted asylum will have to wait 20 years for permanent settlement.
This means absolutely nothing. I mean, let's be honest, as soon as they dinghy across or whatever across the channel, they're met with hotels, various accommodations, money, phones, 3 meals a day, lawyers, let's not forget that, lawyers and access to, what they call services that the rest of us can only dream about because it can be years for you to be seen for something, but not for those dinghy surfers, etc., and all our other unwelcome guests who, let's face it, as I've said many times, are demonstrably not net contributors, can't even speak the bloody language half the time, or go out their way not to, and certainly don't want to integrate. And you look at the cost burden on Joe Blogg's British public, who is treated with utter disdain. So this is all just witchcraft. It's Masonic witchcraft.
Refugee status is to become temporary. And
I'll repeat. Hey, seriously? I mean, we're told it's temporary anyway, while they battle whatever else and blah, blah, blah. But they're housed. They're looked after. They've got lawyers. All funded by, us. Yeah?
Subject to review every 2.5 years.
Subject to a review every 2.5 years. That means nothing either. Seriously. But you'll be subject to a review every month. Yeah? And then ultimately every day based on AI software.
And refugees will be removed when their home countries are deemed safe.
Think about that as well. They may not be deemed safe for decades, if ever. This is all just Masonic witchcraft.
Shabana Mahmood says these and other changes are needed to restore order and control to the country's borders.
Order and control? Oh dear God, that voice, but anyway.
But when she addressed MPs,
he sounds like some cop, but not in a good way. Mind you, I suppose that doesn't make sense, but you know what I mean? It's just, I don't know what to say. Well, I could say things, but it's just pish. I mean, does he train it that way? Because I'm all about the respect.
He knew she would face some opposition from inside and outside the Labour Party. Here's a flavour of the debate.
Here's a flavour of that debate.
I know the British people do not want to close the doors.
What British people is she talking to? Well, I can have a guess or two, but pretty much not most of the population, that's for sure.
Until we restore order and control.
Order and control. We restore. Look, they've allowed, and previous Masonic governments have allowed these people, the dinghy surfers and all the rest, to just, with confidence, and I've said over the years, when they get in the dinghies, and people recently apparently have been linking wee vids now and again about, after all, wouldn't you destroy them straight off the bat? Talk about recycling, every dinghy that comes across, just fucking recycle the bastard thing. And when I say that, I'm talking about, shred it into, reusable plastic, or rubber, but don't allow it to be going back on trucks, back to, France, etc.
Those who seek to divide us will...
Those who seek to divide us. Now, let me translate that. Everybody in the UK who's well and truly fucked off, we're being treated like second or third class citizens because somebody keeps telling us we have international obligations and we have uncontrolled immigration where we're told that digging arable farmland up for, and remember, all along they keep saying, well, we've got a declining population. Well, why the fuck do we need all these different more, housing estates and all the rest of it, and land reforms and all the rest of it, so they can just come and take your land? It's communistic shenanigans on steroids. This is absolutely about shredding the West. Absolutely about shredding the West.
Grow stronger. It is our job as a Labour government to unite where there is division.
I'll repeat, anybody that's unhappy is seen as a problem to be dealt with.
So we must now build an asylum system for the world as it is.
For the world as it is. That's another very telling comment statement, whatever. Yeah, because it's world government. Remember, even the very idea of nationhood, nation states, that's all to be destroyed for the collectivism.
One that restores order and control. One that opens safe and legal routes to those fleeing danger across the world.
I mean, everything they're talking about is the safety of everybody else outside the UK who have come uninvited, many of them illegally, yeah, or come in even on student visas and never turned up for the courses. Yeah. And we're told constantly they're all doctors and engineers. This is utter garbage.
Some of the measures she is announcing today, Madam Deputy Speaker, are undoubtedly positive steps.
No, but it's just the wings of the same bird. They're all Masonic paid for tossers. This is theatre with consequences.
Baby steps, but positive nonetheless. We welcome making refugee status temporary, and we welcome removing the last Labour government's legislation that created a duty to support asylum seekers. She's right to do that. Yeah. However, some of what she is announcing simply does not...
I mean, what's her name, Badenoch? I mean, isn't she like WEF, World Economic Forum as well? I mean, these people are absolutely handpicked for the theatrical roles they're well paid for.
Go far enough.
These are the people that left this government an abject mess to clear up.
I mean, either side, I just see Eastern Star and bloody Freemasons, other types of Freemasons. Seriously, that's it.
They gave up on governing. They gave up on running an effective asylum system.
Then what she says today...
Another part of the network, is there a good chance she's Eastern Star or something along those lines? Or, Theosophy or whatever?
Is there a danger that those people that we do actually need to come to this country...
I mean, the embarrassment of saying that we do actually need... Why is nobody saying that education absolutely has been failing for decades? I would argue deliberately, because we've no longer got teachers. We've got activists focused on dumbing down. I mean, let's be honest. I was speaking to actually a decent guy in the last couple of days, an apparent gas engineer, right? And he was saying that there were something like 60,000 engineers short. That's how much they reckon, something like that. I don't know where they got the figures, but he reckoned there was about something like 60,000 we are short of actual gas engineers in the UK. Mind you, where they're going with things as regards Miliband, But, and of course the excuse is, well, we need gas. Who are these gas engineers we're going to get from abroad, as opposed to addressing the fucking fundamentals as to where, why are we not skilling up people who are guaranteed a job in a trade through the education system? Seriously. This is an absolute bloody disgrace. And you could tie that into so many things, not least of which is the NHS. How the fuck do we need people from abroad? Seriously. How big does a country or an island have to be self-fucking sufficient? This is a disgrace.
legally with the skills that we need to fill the employment gap to keep our NHS working.
And then they keep going to this default NHS, as opposed to asking, why the fuck is so many more people or percentage of the population sick or unwell than even 40 years ago? I cannot say this enough to you. The NHS was far cheaper to run 40 years ago than it is now, by a country mile, and we had far more hospitals, and resolution and solution was so much quicker. Seriously.
And to work in the social care sector. Well, actually, look at this country now.
And yet again, the social care. There's another one. Why is so many needed in social care? Because of the breakdown of society. Deliberate and by design. The demonization of traditional families. Yeah.
And say, no, I don't want to go there.
If you look at the numbers of people that come into this country on the small boats, it's about 40% of all asylum claims. Actually, it's about the same.
On the small boats. The casual approach to that. 40% of them. And I would argue that's pretty conservative. Yeah. And, you know, it goes on to various theatrics from different parties, all basically saying the bloody same thing. But, well, here's the Scottish, the SNP's thoughts on it.
The cost of what is currently free asylum support. These two things are not the same.
What we have is a policy that's welcomed by Reform UK and that's even found favour with Tommy Robinson, from throwing refugees into destitution to denying any meaningful route to citizenship to forcible evictions. Where exactly?
How the hell does this tie into this Tommy Robinson guy? Well, you know, I mean, let's just say his allegiances are elsewhere outside of the UK. But anyway, yeah, I mean, he's just another one of these bought and paid for controlled opposition puppets, you know, without a doubt, like, seriously. But then, you know, and wasn't he driving a Bentley Bentayga, you know, because, hey, you know. But yeah, guys like this, it's all Freemasonry. It doesn't matter what bloody party. It's a fucking lodge meeting. That's what they are in these parliaments.
Exactly is the compassion and dignity in that.
They don't seem to give a fuck about Native people. You know, our traditions, our true values, and the reasons why we've been first world nations for so fucking long. Seriously.
There's nothing progressive about ducking asylum reform and allowing public support for refugees to drain away. Can the Home Secretary...
None of these people are talking about Native people. There is no passion for caring about Native people. Because we're all apparently racist, backwards, homophobic, transphobic. And we just need replaced. That's the fucking running theme.
set out how these reforms will address the manifest...
And by the way, I mean, how many camp fucking Scottish MPs of all parties are there? Seriously.
unfairnesses and rebuild public support for the asylum system and immigration overall.
The two principles that underpin all of the...
Anyway, meanwhile we've got more of this pish from, I'm guessing it's STV, Miss Pillock.
Organisations which provide direct support for asylum seekers.
It will make it difficult for people to seek protection, but also it removes that humanity from the system.
Oh, honestly, look, people's lives, I've seen it. I see it in Scotland. Yeah, it's getting tougher by the bloody day because we're last in the bloody queue. Rents are going through the bloody roof and all the rest of it. Yeah, and we're not prioritised in any way, shape or form. And there's certain corporations buying up properties or fronted by whoever and, you know, but the rental, even the rental accommodation, straight white male, you can forget it. Seriously. But, you know, as our lives get tougher over time, we're not compassionate enough. We're not doing enough, apparently.
Together, ultimately, people want to be safe here, but also they want to be part of our society.
No, absolutely no. They want to have the handouts and all the rest of it. But the last fucking thing the absolutely last thing that they want to be doing is embracing Scottish values, for example. Traditional Scottish values. None of that. None of it. And it's all about importing importing their cultures, of which they want to, well, essentially, look at it, it's demonstrably so. They want to take over. And they're being well funded by the people who apparently purport to look after our best interests. Tell me something, does native locals get lawyers, various what other support and all the rest of it, if they face any issues or problems in life? No, they have to either pay through their nose or pop round to their, let me think, oh my God, what was the organisation? Citizens Advice Bureau, which is just wall to wall with a new image. And you, yet again, are not front of that queue. Seriously.
And not live in parallel two-tier society. And
we live in a two-tier society. We are second and third class citizens. People.
To have access to their rights.
We asked the Westminster government to put forward a minister to appear on tonight's programme, but they failed to do so. And the Labour Party were unable to provide us with a backbench MP.
And the colour purple right throughout.
This evening we were joined by Councillor Thomas Kerr, who represents Reform UK.
And this is the best Reform UK guy in Scotland, apparently. This is your best example of reform in Scotland. I mean, they're laughing, aren't they?
A party which has helped push the issue of immigration to the top of the UK political agenda. Thomas Kerr, do you think the Home Secretary's plan will work?
I don't. I think that it's a step in.
Honestly, I had to look again. I thought initially, seriously, I remember I did a vid years ago, because they were saying, about representation and all the rest of it, and I said, certainly in Scotland, when you look at Scottish senior ministers, senior political figures, all the rest of it, it is certainly well and truly overrepresented as regards LGBT, X, Y, and Z. Seriously. And this trend seems to continue.
In the right direction, but I think the problem is this is a lot of headline grabbing and not a lot of actual solutions. What we're seeing from the Home Secretary is a lot of noise, but the reality is until we leave the ECHR, many of this is powerless. And I think from coming in tonight, there's 17 Labour MPs that's already said they're going to vote down these plans. So again, it's about rhetoric rather than actually results, and that's not what the country needs.
So for you, it doesn't quite go far enough?
No, there's parts of this that I welcome, absolutely. There are key elements of this proposal that make the Home Secretary say...
As I said, there's... It really is the absolute uniparty no matter where you look. Seriously. I mean, certainly from a distance, Reform looks like the best option in Scotland, but seriously. Anyway, your thoughts, a thumb up or two, a share or two. If you haven't subscribed, please do, and I'll speak to you soon.